What happened on the pitch isn't really what's making all the headlines. It is Jose Mourinho's comments about Ndombele after the game.
And I have to say that Tanguy had enough time to come to a different level. I know that the Premier League is very difficult. I know that some players it takes time. Some players they take long time to adapt to a different league. But a player with his potential, with his responsibility, I think he has to give us more than he's giving us.
Is that fair, Jules?
I don't think it is. I mean, listen, I'm biased, obviously, but yes, Tanguy Ndombele should do better, and I've watched him play a lot this season. I know him well. In his attitude, in his movement, his work rate, off the ball, on the ball, there's a lot of things to improve. He's 23 years of age. 4 years ago, he was playing the French 5th division. So I think Mourinho should cut him some slack to start with, and maybe Mourinho should start thinking, the potential is there, because even Mourinho says he's got great potential. Maybe I should work a bit differently with him, because for all I know, he's a slow learner, maybe, or like for what I've just said, the reason I've just said, this is all new to him. This is all new to him. He had one season in the French top flight. He had a few call-ups with France, and then he arrived in the Premier League in a club that is dysfunctional right now, let's be honest. He has two managers. The first one signed him and then left. And the second one was, well, let's be honest, never really that kind with him. It's not the first time that he shames him in public, in front of the media, when I think there's no reason to shame him. Of course, Ndombele should do better, but I think Mourinho should treat him very, very differently, especially publicly in front of the media.
Stevie?
I find it shocking that a manager hangs a player out to dry in that manner. Listen, if somebody has the wrong attitude, if somebody clearly doesn't care, then that's a different ballgame. But when you're 23 years of age, you've just come from a league that's way lower than the Premier League. It's a completely different way of playing. It's dysfunctional, as Jules says, and you've got the cheek to kind of put the blame on this kid. I mean, any coach that hangs a player out to dry in the press, in my opinion, is an absolute disgrace.
$65 million, though, they paid for him. You know, he's got a big price tag. The expectation was high.
I don't care who it is or how much they were bought for. You do this behind closed doors. If you've got a problem with a player and you think you should be doing better, you take him in your office, or you get somebody to work with him and talk to him. I mean, all he's doing is alienating himself, Mourinho. Because if I'm a player in that team, I'm thinking, wow. I tell you what, if he's going to do this to him, is he going to do it to anybody? I mean, that's what sort of way is that to go into training or go into games? He's just alienating himself.
You compare Jose Mourinho's record, 2019-2020. It's interesting, obviously, the run of defeats and the run of drop points continues for them. But Jules, what's happened to Mourinho in that this isn't a surprise that yet again he's throwing a player under the bus? We saw it at Manchester United with Paul Pogba, with Luke Shaw. In contrast to the Jose Mourinho, you always think back to that Inter Milan side, the Chelsea teams, where they were genuinely gutted, in tears when he left.
Yeah, I just don't think he has that kind of relationship with his dressing room anymore. I just don't think there's that chemistry between him and the dressing room. At the start at Spurs, yeah, there was a lot of smiles and he was making those jokes. Oh, but is it Dele Alli's brother who's playing? I want the real Dele Alli to play. And then Dele had a few good games and then suddenly it was all good. And then now he's back to the old Mourinho, the one that we've been used to it now for many years, the one who is very critical publicly of his players, like we've just explained, the one whose team is not playing well, with no direction, with no idea, with no creativity. He will always hide himself behind the fact that he's got injured, and he said it again today after the game. Oh, but I need players to do the things I want to do, and next season will be different. And my real time here starts on July the 1st, 2020. Well, no, it doesn't. It doesn't. You've been here long enough now to show us better things than what you have. Even with Kane and Son, I don't care. You had all of January to sign someone up front to play as a centre forward. You failed. You signed Bergwijn, who's a wide player that you can play as a second striker or striker. But that's not the answer. And I've had enough of all those excuses. It's never his fault. It's never been his fault. And now Spurs are stagnating, let's be honest, to say the least. And again, it's not his fault. It's always someone else's fault. And in this case, it's Ndombele's fault.
Spurs now, by the way, just 1 point ahead of Arsenal, who managed a 1-0 victory at home today against West Ham. Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week, subscribe to ESPN+.